Hello, second time tonight. I said I might do another one and I've decided that I'm going to. So this fragrance I'm reviewing is Diesel Zero Plus Masculine. I think it's called Diesel Zero Plus, and then there's Masculine, and they've got Diesel Zero Plus Feminine. I'm dedicating this review to one of my bestest friends in the entire world, Josh, aka Twineth, because he's actually the person that bought me this fragrance after I smelt it on him once. He walked up the stairs one day after answering the door to me, and you know, one of them times when you say, oh my gosh, what are you wearing? I really like it. And I've never encountered it in my life. I've never heard of it before at the time. Diesel, for me, have kind of propelled into the mainstream a lot more. This is, I think, probably one of their more older, unknown fragrances. Right now you've got, you know, Fuel for Life and Only the Brave with a fist, and then more recently Loverdose, the gorgeous purple heart bottle. But they used to have ones before that I don't think were very well known, and I've not really smelled them on anyone before. I used to have a white one that was called, it was a similar name, it was something like Diesel something or other plus feminine. It looked like a milk bottle anyway, but you know, yeah, I think this one's fairly unknown, and it was unknown to me till I smelt it on Josh, and I loved it. So before I knew it, as he's a sweetheart, he bought me it. So this is an Oriental Woody, and Josh, this is for you because I know you wear it as well, so let's break it down. That sounds really cheesy, but hey. So it's an Oriental Woody. It was released in 2003. It has some really, really interesting notes in it, not typically found in men's fragrances. Generally, it's got a lot of flowers, which is, you know, men's fragrances aren't generally floral, but this one's got quite a few, and I think that's really cool. So anyway, as I always do, I'll go through the notes with you. Oh no, first I'll show you the bottle, sitting right here. So it comes in a, you would have seen the picture before, but it comes in like a clear tin thing, clear, not tin, a clear, like a clear case thing, which I don't have anymore. I threw it away because I'm a little bit OCD, but I wish I had it now for the review purpose. And it doesn't have a lid at all. Once you take it out of the casing, it doesn't have a lid, so it's left like this. It's completely metal, I think, instead of glass. Sounds like glass, but I think it's metal. And it's kind of like an opaque, metallic-y kind of thing. So it's Diesel Fragrances, Zero Plus Masculine. It's an Eau de Toilette, and this is 75ml. And what I think is kind of unusual is the fact that it's got 82% volume. I don't know of what. That would be amazing if it was essential oils, because then we'd be talking about pure perfume, but it's not. I don't know what that might mean, but maybe it's, because it's 75ml, maybe it means 82% of what would be 100ml. I'm not going to go into the maths about it. I'm not here to talk about maths, I'm here to talk about the fragrance. So, as always, the top notes, you've got cardamom, bergamot, anise, nutmeg and orange. So you've got a couple of, well, three spices in there, and then two kind of citrusy elements. The heart notes are full of flowers, unusual for men as well, as I said. So you've got rose, violet, jasmine, lily of the valley, and then the main player of this fragrance, which is cinnamon. So you've got another spice, so you can kind of feel where this is going. And then the base, you've got heliotrope, which I kind of find unusual, because heliotrope obviously is a flower. It's a delicate, dainty flower, and flowers are normally heart notes, but in this case it's in the base. I don't know how. Anyway, then you've got vanilla, musk, patchouli and amber. Kind of a general base there, but you know, it makes for a solid bottom, if you like. That sounds wrong. Okay, so as I always do in my reviews, if you haven't watched them before, I will always have the fragrance drying on this hand, and then I'll spray it fresh on this hand, just to kind of get the contrast, because as everyone knows, fragrances change, they don't stay the same. Generally they don't, unless they're crap and they're made out of like one thing. So here you go, I'm going to spray it on this hand. So as I said before, cinnamon's a massive player in this, and it's kind of like the structure of the entire thing. Like, it's like everything else is surrounded by cinnamon. And I personally don't like cinnamon in fragrances. I have collected quite a few, well, I've smelt quite a few samples from a niche brand that I like, and cinnamon, I don't know, I personally associate it with food. I know that's wrong, but I don't like the smell of it in perfumery. It doesn't go right on my skin. But what attracted me to this was the fact that the cinnamon in this is surrounded by an entire bubble of, it's kind of like a soft powdery cinnamon, and I like powdery fragrances, and that's probably what's swung me over to liking this. It's kind of, it reminds me of Christmas in a way. Not just, sorry, my bird's going a bit crazy, I don't know why, he was asleep a minute ago. But it kind of reminds me of Christmassy. It reminds me of like a cinnamon vanilla Christmas cake. It's like someone's thrown lots of powder onto a cinnamon cake, and it's unusual for a man's fragrance. I mean, what's unusual anymore? I don't know. Perfumery is bendable and it goes all over the place, but for me, this is all about the spices and the softness and powderiness. So it's nutmeggy, it's cinnamony. It's not a real word, cinnamony, but you know what I mean. And the florals in it are very, it doesn't smell floral, but they obviously add to it a lot. Violet is also very powdery. I've been talking a lot about violets recently. I've done 3 reviews recently, no 2 actually, sorry. And most of them, I've been talking about violet a lot. Maybe it's a sign, I don't know. But yeah, it's jasmine, lily of the valley. I can't really smell those. Those are both very similar florals, and they are very lush, tropical, heady florals. Obviously they're there, but they're not a main thing of this. It does have that sort of vanilla-y, ambery base. Amber is very soft, it gives a kind of a roundness to a fragrance, and that's kind of what this feels like. Even though it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 or so notes, it feels a lot less. It feels a lot like it's very well blended. Either they're lying about what's in it, or everything's done in such a way that it feels a lot more simple, and that's how I think a perfume should feel. It should feel like it's kind of one, like an entire experience in one throw, and that's, you're hit with that straight away. You're hit with a kind of overall cinnamony, powdery feel. And what I'll say is, from there, it doesn't change too much into the dry down. It's very strong at first, but it does fade quite quickly. And this is no reflection on you, Josh, because you didn't choose it for that reason. It's lovely, but it just it doesn't leave a lot to be desired. But it's amazing at first, and then it does kind of fade into a nice kind of soft second scent. I wouldn't say it lasts probably more than 4 hours. I've resprayed it quite a lot in a day, in a day's length, but I do that anyway. But with this one, I think, yeah, it kind of just fades out a little bit quick. But yeah, on the whole, it's very interesting. I like it. I've not smelled anything like it before. Nothing that's got this much cinnamon and powder from a men's fragrance. So if you kind of veer towards that way, if you like men's powdery fragrances, you know, like Prada Amber. I'm not saying it smells the same, but if you like that kind of clean-ish, powdery vibe, Prada Amber would be a good one. And yeah, that's it really. I'm not going to go on about it too much. I like it. It's probably more of a wintry one for me, like a wintry nighttime scent. It feels a bit cosy, it feels a bit bedtimey, let's snuggle up in a blanket kind of thing. And yeah, that's it. That's my review of Diesel 0 Plus Masculine. Hope to see you guys soon. I'll be reviewing something else, and if you like my channel, as always, subscribe. If you're a guy watching this, I tend to review women's fragrances more than men's, but I do have men's ones and I do review them sporadically, so I don't know, subscribe and watch, you'll see. So I'll speak to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.